Hours of Clarity, Episode 2. Welcome, folks. Live to live night news. If you're a lot like me, then you might not like you radio. I just wanted to say today's episode will be donated to any funding will be donated to the Mission, Downtown Mission Phoenix program. With my friend here, you want to introduce yourself?
So, Chris T-Bear, recovery counselor, addictions counselor at Phoenix Recovery Program at the Downtown Mission.
Yeah, and you're also an alumni of Brentwood, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, how many years graduated?
So, well, I guess it would be about 12 now?
12
I
years.
guess, yeah. I mean, that being said, I first came into Brentwood when I was 16.
Yeah.
So I was young when
So the youth group you're in?
No, I was on program.
Oh, no kidding.
On the Paul Program program, yeah. So my dad was in program first.
Nice. So he's an alumni first, eh?
Yeah, and I ended up, I left my mom's house.
Yeah.
It was too much for her to handle. I was doing drugs at a young age.
Yeah.
My dad left. A lot of animosity, a lot of violence in the household between my mom and my dad. My mom couldn't handle me anymore. I don't blame her.
Yeah.
At that point, kind of my sister stayed with my mom, and I got shipped off to my dad's. So we were doing coke together.
Yeah.
Smoking crack together at a young age. Drinking, stuff like that. And then he decided to make a change. Went to Brentwood, and I wasn't there yet.
Right.
So I ended up, getting into some heavy debt with some drug dealers.
Mm-hmm.
And owed about $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Brentwood. When I was decided to make a change, go to Brentwood, I was scared. Really, I just wanted to get away from this guy that was trying to.
Yeah, and that's
hurt me
what,
for
at
it.
16?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me at that age too. Okay, so we have like topics of the week, which you never knew about at that point.
Yeah.
We got all these different things that we go through here, like the one-on-ones and all the group therapy, but it's based on these topics, right?
Yeah.
And finding, let's say, the purpose to look for the help. Okay, so was it the debt? Was it the fear of the streets? Was it like, what was the exact emotions you were kind of going through then?
It was everything. Yeah, I was scared. I had a guy come to my house that just got out of the Jacksonville Penitentiary.
Right.
Trying to kill me. He had a shotgun, and I was barricaded my door
Holy.
at that point. So Father Paul brought me in, meeting with him and my dad, and paid my debt.
Wow. So they went out of their way just to help you so you didn't have those anxieties anymore.
Yeah, Father said, I'll give the money to your dad to
Okay.
pay the guy off. My dad knew the guy.
Right.
All I want you to do is finish program.
All right. So this week's topic here, it's November 29th, is fear. And let's just say that's part of what you're just sharing right now. You didn't even understand probably the topic, what the depth of it was. But to get into, let's say, how about the freedom that presented and release of, like, you don't have to worry about, say, that comeback or that blowback.
Yeah.
Right? So how much did that, like, take that and give you that freedom or that fear concept?
Well, it made me realize, that there was, just having, after that day, I remember going on just, I couldn't believe that somebody would be so kind, right?
There
to
you
actually
go.
do something for me.
Right.
I grew up in a not the greatest environment when I was young.
Right. And nobody ever went to bat for you like
Yeah.
that, or
That's what I felt like. I know my mom did. Now that I look back at
Yeah.
it, but at that point in my life, I really
Didn't
I
appreciate
didn't feel
it.
like there was anybody there. For
Right.
me. So that happened. I ended up leaving about a week shy of my graduation.
Oh my. So what, 11 weeks in?
Yeah. So it was New Year's, right? And I was young, and I wanted to party and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I made the wrong decision.
Yeah.
But after that, I don't know how many, a lot of intakes. I've had a lot of intakes in
Okay.
Brentwood over the years since I was 16, and it's like I always use it as a safe haven, right? Like I was once I was in the program when I was young.
Yeah.
It instilled something in me. And
Like planting a seed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then when I got high, every time I got high, it wasn't the same, right?
Yeah.
And I just came back. Probably saved my life numerous times being on program.
So thank Father Paul, right?
Thank Father Paul, man.
Yeah,
I
putting
mean,
that-
he built me up personally out of a lot of situations. He paid for a train ticket back from Vancouver.
Wow.
I was on Hastings Street. Just to
Save
Mass.
your
I was
life.
about 19, yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, I called and my dad called my dad and
Yeah.
they helped me out, got a train ticket back. So I mean,
What a blessing recovery is for you, eh?
Yeah.
Like today, so let's put it this way. You got a family, you got kids, right?
Yeah.
And to live for a meaning and a purpose, like prior to like getting to where you're at today, the struggle with, like, say, getting clean, like the final time, let's say when enough was enough.
Yeah.
Wasn't it you and your wife that come to a decision or something you were explaining to me one time in a one-on-one?
It was, yeah. So I think we shared earlier in our first interview there
Mhm.
that about the whole incident when I was
Yeah, you can get into it. I'd like to hear it.
Yeah, so when me and my wife that I'm with right now, we've been together for about 13 years.
Okay.
We struggled
Yeah.
at the first part of our relationship. We were both heavy into our addiction. We'd see each other and we'd just
Yeah.
We at the end, you know, with the different drugs that we were doing, I won't, you know, get specific, but we couldn't coexist.
Right.
You know, we'd see each other, we'd be looking for each other. I'd get out of jail, I'd see her, she'd see me, and we talked about it after we got sober, and we think it's because we were both so upset over the fact that we were killing ourselves,
Right.
and we don't know what to do.
Even though you're harming yourself, you want the best for her still, vice versa for her to you.
And we missed our kids.
Right.
We
So
both
you had children
we
at
both-
this point, yeah?
We both had kids from separate relationships.
Right.
Now we have 2 of our own
Oh,
children.
cool. So how many in total?
So we have 6.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
That's a family.
Yeah, two older ones and 4 older ones and 2 younger ones.
Right.
So now we have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old that we have together.
Yeah.
So
And you guys making that breaking point, you come to terms together to get clean?
yeah. So what happened was Katie never was in recovery
Right.
before this, right? And I was. So I'd probably annoy her when I was always saying like
Talking the topic.
Father Paul, you know, and this
Yeah.
and that, and we get high, and I'd talk about Brentwood and stuff, and she'd just be like, okay. After a while, she's like, I just don't want to hear it, right?
Right.
She wasn't. What I'm trying to say, she was never the type of person. I knew when she said she wanted to get sober
Yeah.
that she was serious.
Right.
And we were both at the point where we would have did it anyway,
Right.
regardless if the other one was going to do it or not. But our love,
So you were ready, she was ready?
we were both ready.
That's
Yeah.
a miracle.
And this was after, you know, she had heart attacks,
Oh, my.
right? She had, you know, and the worst part of what it was when she was having this heart attack, I remember this right before we got sober,
Yeah.
probably 6 months, maybe a little longer, before she got sober. We both got sober. We were sitting in our apartment, and we were doing a bunch of drugs, and she was having a heart attack, and I was in the corner, messed right up, and we haven't seen her mom for about a year at this point.
Right.
And her mom ended up showing up randomly,
Wow.
right, out of the blue, and Katie was having 2, you know, heart attacks at the same time. So she's in the hospital. I'm, you know, crying on the you know grass out in the parking lot of the hospital.
And she just shows up.
Yeah, she just showed up. So that was, you know, God.
Miracle for her, yeah.
That was God. We both believe in God, right? We both seen a lot of things
Yeah.
that made us, you know, totally believe in God, right?
So there's got to be a pivotal point, say like a revelation or something that was spiritually like brought you back to where Father Paul had initially kept trying to show you something with family, with brotherhood, with fellowship, you know, that you're included, that you're cared about, even from a distance, like you said, Vancouver.
So Father would always be in my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my mind. And I always knew that God spoke to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I always knew that I had a relationship. And even when I was high, I would pray, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was in jail, you know, one of the times, always in and out of jail, and I was disruptive in
Mm-hmm.
the jail, so they put me in the hole. I was in there for about a month, and I was in the yard,
Mm-hmm.
which at the county jail here in Windsor, it's not a yard, it's just an enclosed area where you look out and there might be some air. You know?
Right, right.
So it's just a, you know.
Like cement block
Yeah,
with a
just-
fence.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
So, you know, so I looked out in the yard, and God said, look at this dove. And I looked over and there was a dove,
Yeah.
and he started to fly, and he said, you can fly like that dove.
And you hear this spiritually.
Yeah, I heard it in my head. At first, I was hearing this for a few days, and I thought I was going crazy. Like, this. And when God talks to you in your head, it's not some guy in this, you know what I
It's
mean?
loud.
It's yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's me. It's my voice. And so I called my mom after I heard that, and, you know, I was talking to her, and I just casually brought it up. She started to cry, and she had seen the same dove that morning, you know, and God said the same thing to her.
Wow.
She's religious also.
Two
And,
different places.
Yeah. And then Katie was at home drawing doves on our wall
Wow.
and heard the same thing from God, right? So at our house, at our apartment,
If that isn't a pivotal moment, eh?
you know, so that really, both of us,
Yeah.
we realized that we don't want to die,
Right.
you know. And then going further, after I got out, I ended up getting jumps shortly after with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
I kind of got lured to a spot. I was no saint, right? I
Still
did a
an
lot of
active
bad
addiction.
stuff
Yeah.
in my life, right?
Right.
And I, you know, not to say I deserve it, but I did bad things to people. You know?
You're in
Like,
bad
I'm
places.
in that life, you know. So
When you're in bad places, doing bad things, you can't expect good things to happen, right?
So I had was laying there in a snowbank after getting hit with a baseball bat, minus 25-degree weather, out there for, you know, a good hour before somebody called an ambulance, and I woke up with catheters, you know, and that was a pivotal point,
Yeah.
right? So I seen Katie after I got out of the hospital, and we decided enough was enough.
Right.
You know, we can't live like this anymore. We just can't do it, right? Katie's mother ended up getting us she was a saint, and my mom too. Like, we always had them there,
Yeah.
you know, and why? Like, we burned them so many times.
But they still love you.
They
that's
still love
that's what the compassion, eh? That
Yeah,
they talk
it's-
about here in program.
And it's like, so she trusted us, God knows why. I think that time she's seen something, right?
Mhm.
That we were serious you know, and she put us up in a motel room, you know, just outside of the city, outside of all the craziness. Even in that motel room, we stayed there for a month.
Okay.
Right, and she paid for a month for us. God bless her. And there was a drug dealer right next door. So I teach my guys in program, when somebody walks up to the door, what do you do?
That's right.
It's like a role playing, right?
Right.
So I teach them like you know, and I
For
did the
physical practice.
The exact thing that I teach them is what I had to do. I opened up the door. I said, listen, you know, we're not
Interested.
sorry, we're not interested. We're not doing. You know, we're done. Thanks. And I shut the door. That's it. And they didn't bug us anymore.
What'd that feeling represent? When you could finally...
Freedom, you know, that we're not tied to something.
Right.
You know, and there's so much misery, right?
How many years did you go in your life, let's say, until you had that point where you could actually and respect yourself, love yourself enough, and your wife, and the things that the mother was doing for you guys to say, I'm okay, thank you, and shut that door?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. And
is that the first time?
We made sure after that we paid her back. You know, she got us apartment after the motel.
You give me
first
chills.
Last, and we paid her back, and then Katie and I were off to the races, so to speak, right? Just on the recovery journey. You know, the worst part about it was when I was in recovery this time, I had warrants.
Yeah.
So we're clean. I'm clean for a month in the motel. We get our own place. I'm clean for about a month there.
Still with that in the back of your mind.
Now I got to go, and I'm in recovery mode, right?
Yeah.
So now you got to go from recovery mode to jail mode.
Right. You put the armor back on.
It's totally different.
Did you end up going back in?
I had to go, yeah.
You did, eh?
How many
months?
they were going to give me like probably 8, but they got it reduced because I was sober and I was willing to be in a program. Right. I didn't start the program initially. I've been around so many times. I knew what to do. Right. But I still want to do a program. Right. Not because jail would have said, you got to get out of jail to do a program. I want to do it anyway. So I did.
Either way, there's a balance of help there.
I did the mass program at the Salvation Army.
Nice.
So
would you say it's fair to say it doesn't matter what you dedicate your life through in recovery, what program it is, as long as you work it, you'll be involved, and giving back is going to keep you on that path?
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And Windsor's the best city for this.
Right.
Think about what we got here in the city, what Father Paul has built up here in Windsor. Right?
And just to say, like, I'm blessed. I've been to other treatment centers myself, so I can relate to what you're saying. To finally dedicate yourself to a positive meaning. Like, if I'm manic and 0 to 100 in a negative way, let's say, like living that lifestyle, right? Having to put that armor back on, go through the things and the things and the things. It's like, that's more of a challenge when you have a positive meaning today. So taking your positivity to jail, it's like, okay, then stay sober in there and then get out and continue on the path. Like, I'm blessed. I was looking at 6 years when I came to Brentwood. Okay, I'm down to 4, and then I was blessed with a 2-year conditional sentence to serve in this county, in this community, right? So, like, I'm from Sault Ste. Marie, so I can relate to what you're saying. The fear of, I got to go back in. What am I going to do? It's like a reunion, so you're going to meet and greet and see all the faces you've seen before.
Exactly.
It's like, great. I don't want to live like this anymore, and now I have to go back to where I came from.
I could have said, forget about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to just
take it right back to
I'm
yourself.
Just gonna do everything that I've done all my life. I could have reverted back to.
Yeah, they call that the case of the efforts, eh?
Because every time anything's ever got hard in my life,
right?
I just ran and I just did drugs. I went and I said, okay, it's too hard. My kids, everything. It's too hard. Let's just go get high, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't. And then I went and I turned myself in, right? And I'll be honest with you, I didn't want it.
Well, clearly.
I didn't want it. And Katie and her mom were like, you got to do it.
That gets back to the fears, the freedoms, right? But even discipline is another topic.
Yeah.
To get into the discipline, to say, I'm going to stay on track. I know I'm scared. I can hear you upstairs. You're telling me to quit, run, get high, do all the things. It's loud in your head. And you shelf that. And you're able to say, I'm doing the right thing.
I had to do it.
And then what are you blessed with today? Like, where you're working at the mission right now?
So the mission gave me an opportunity, right? Like I was around there causing trouble. Like big time.
You were the people.
I was tased there, right outside, multiple times. Tased there. I was a nuisance around there, right? So, but I knew me and Ron Dunn had a close relationship.
Right.
So he would always sit there. He would always bring me up to his office and we'd talk, and he'd see me, go to his way to talk to me, which meant a lot to me, right?
Right.
The staff there, went out of their way. A couple of them. Dino was another person that did that. He went out of his way to talk to me.
Right.
Right. Even when I was messed up, And he gave me the opportunity in early sobriety. He sat with me and he said, listen, if you stay on this course, I'll pay for your schooling.
Cool.
I'll get you a job.
Yep.
And I held him to that.
And you held yourself to it too.
I really, you talked about discipline.
Right.
Every time I was in recovery before, I put too much on my plate.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I preach this all the time.
Expectations.
It's just, you miss so much.
Yep.
Like all my peers I was about 33. All my peers are got family, doing well.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda.
You know, and they're done school, stuff like that. I just wanted it all, put too much on my plate, and then I'd relapse.
And they call that fantasy, right? When we fantasize about where we could be, where we should have been, we could have done this, I should have what my friends have, or like you're saying, right? So when you finally disciplined yourself, went through schooling, you got the job at the mission.
And what happened was, when I first got sober, I concentrated on the basic things.
Yep.
Right? Just recovery.
Yep.
That's it.
Meetings.
Katie to recovery. That's
Yep.
it. You know, the first time, before I get into the steps, the first time her and I actually, we had a breaking, kind of a moment in our recovery, right?
Okay.
We went to a CA conference in Montreal.
That's
we got
Cocaine Anonymous?
Yeah, we got Cocaine Anonymous. We got some money together and went on a Cocaine Anonymous to a conference there.
Okay.
And we had fun.
Yeah.
First time we had fun on an outing, other than going out doing drugs.
Right.
Going out drinking.
Realizing that you can be happy and giggle and have those belly laughs
Yeah.
sober.
And we're like, and it was amazing. And
Right.
we're like, oh my God, this is great. And we got to know each other on
Personally.
a different level.
Yeah. I actually get to know your wife.
So it was that, it was CA, it was meetings, it was recovery, and then I got a job at Mezzo's,
Okay.
washing dishes.
Yeah.
And then I when I was ready, each goal.
Yep.
That's what I did.
One step at a
Little
time.
goals. And then when I was ready, I went to Ron. And I said, listen, I'm doing good. I've been doing good. I enrolled in school
Yep.
at this point already and paid for my first little bit myself.
Right.
My first course.
Yeah.
Without him having to do it.
Right.
And then he took over that.
So you're showing initiative.
Hired me. Yeah, he
Right.
hired me after that. And I mean, since then it's been goals.
Yeah.
Right? Like I went from being an SSW social service worker at the mission.
Yep.
You know, to being a team lead.
Yeah.
Right at the mission. You know,
And
then addictions comes through.
That's amazing.
So it's like, you know, it's like I always wanted to better myself.
So
Just
those
wanted-
dreams of say like how we fantasize, they turned into not only I wish I had what my friends have or other people that you knew that are normal, we'll say, right? And fantasizing and beating ourselves up to keep ourselves suppressed to say, you know what, I'm never going to get there. I'm not good enough. Da da da. You're a prime example of exactly what it takes to get to a point where you're content, you're providing for your family, you're helping the community now, you're involved with people, you're, you know, running a program or helping run the program, you're involved to a point where your dreams changed and your goals changed to better yourself in a positive manner. And you set yourself short-term goals, is what you're saying, right?
Well, that's it.
And then accomplishing them.
That's
Look where
it.
you are now, right?
And that's it, you know, and I just keep trying to grow.
Yeah.
You know, our I love the mission, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love Brentwood. I always remembered, you know, Father Paul, right?
Yeah.
And his teachings from when I was growing up, when I was 16, got me to where I am.
That's right,
You know,
yeah.
one day at a time, all his talk.
They say they're cliches, but really, if you balance your life on the one day at a time, sometimes it's 1 hour at a time, or, you know, get with the men, or, you know, just expressing the ear of like, what's it called? Like, let's say, being grateful to listen to somebody else and taking time out of yourself.
To actually hear, though.
Right.
I said to my guys this morning, like, there's a difference between listening and the difference between hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have to hear what I say and grasp it
Right.
and understand it.
Yeah.
And the block needs to be down.
Right.
Because my block was always up. Like, guys, I know what I'm doing. Don't worry about it. I got this. Well, I didn't have it. Because I ended up in jail.
Right.
I ended up, you know, of course I didn't have it.
Right.
So, but I never saw that. And I never got better until I saw that.
Right.
You know, that I didn't have it all together, that I didn't have all the answers, and I had to listen. It took me years, but I
That's when you kind of open up, eh? You feel that space release to where it's not about us.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about me. It's not about, you know, what I'm feeling. It's like taking time to listen to somebody else and actually, like you said, you hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you comprehend it? Yep. Do you understand it? You think you do. You get to a point where you have those awe moments, like you're saying, right?
Yeah.
And you're open and you finally are listening. Yeah. And you're no longer thinking about your problems when you hear somebody else's. And you're actually taking the time to say, wow, you know, I feel bad for you. Is there anything I can do to help? Yeah. You know, and you find little things, advice or a physical thing you can do, you know, if it's something somebody's struggling with, you know, you help them out physically, moving their furniture or doing something positive, like helping them clean up their space or like giving them that first initiative, like paying the debt for them or doing something that is like, they're looking at you going, why would you want to help me? Right? You know, but then you see where you were. Yeah. Like I've had moments where I see where a guy's struggling and I look and I'm like, okay, I was there.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course. And every day's a blessing for me now, right? Like
right.
Katie, man, God bless her. Like we had each other.
Right.
You know, to be there for each other. And there's struggles.
Right.
In life, there's going to be struggles. We just know how to deal with them now.
Exactly.
Right? And know to talk about it and stuff. And we don't have to go get high, right? We don't have to go get drunk or high. You
can get through your feelings.
Yeah. And now we have 2 beautiful kids. Yeah. We got married Ron actually.
Oh, God bless you.
Was the officiant at
Really?
He married us. Yeah. So I mean, I have a lot of like.
So everything in recovery has been included through your path, even your marriage. Even getting like that's amazing, man.
Exactly. So now we have 2 beautiful kids,
And-
together, and our other ones are in our lives,
Even-
which they weren't before.
Let's say like the family aspect, that's a beautiful thing. Like if you're never going to find a good thing for a relationship or friendships in negative places. So it took you to be in recovery and your wife to be in recovery and involved with your path to find friends that, a man married you that you met in recovery. A man helped you, struggle through to get to that point of being sober to say enough is enough. Like here at Brentwood, Father Paul did the thing and helped you with a lot of things.
It's all of it.
So now your friends, are any of them in active addiction, like the true ones you keep in your life? Or is it all positive people? Because obviously you deal with people that are using. Of
course.
Right.
Yeah,
but what
I
I'm
see
saying
it
is
all day.
the true friendships that you've gotten now.
I was talking about this morning, and it's funny that you look at some people I grew up with, and I'm not a normal. I was a normal growing up.
Right.
I'm not saying, maybe I shouldn't use the word normal.
The norm
I was
defined
an
by
addict,
society.
but I was an addict, right? So my relationships. The talk today was about relationships. Next week is all going to be on relationships in our program.
Okay.
At
Phoenix?
At Phoenix Recovery, right? So I was talking about this morning, and we don't generally, build strong relationships, right? We don't, and we rob, we steal,
Manipulate.
we take from everybody that we see. So that's all my friends in that life. A lot of them are dead.
Right.
Right. They're not there. The
Right.
only friends that I have are from when I was 16, being in Brentwood and being in recovery. Those are the ones that are in my life.
Amen.
You know what I mean? Those are the guys that I still talk to this day, right? And
Right.
I'm blessed because I know that I have that.
Right.
A lot of people don't have that.
No, and that's another thing too. Like to reach out to the community and actually let people know that where, say, he came from, or where I came from, or where other people are today struggling in the streets, we didn't get here by not caring. We kind of held on to that hope to get to a point where we can make those steps, and then holding on to people that actually truly care. They are out there, and help is there. It just goes to show that, right?
Yeah, I tell my guys that all the time. There's a lot of, especially at the downtown mission, there's a lot of despair, a lot of misery there, right?
Right.
Like there was 300 overdoses in the city last year.
Unreal.
We had I think exact 120 at the mission.
Wow.
A
lot of
and
ambulance.
our staff have become kind of pseudo EMS, in regards to that,
And be prepared for it.
saving lives, right?
Right.
Like they're on it. I was that person too. Now I'm up there in the Phoenix Recovery Program, but the people downstairs that deal with all the guests that are still,
Right.
using, like we don't want people using on our property, but at the same time, we'll be there if they
do.
we don't let. If we
And
see
and
them,
the
we'll
main
tell
thing
them to
is
move
I've
along.
I've been to the mission. Everyone eats. Everyone has, the door isn't shut,
Yeah.
unless somebody's actually doing something illegal.
Yeah.
It's just at a point where like I can look around and sure, there's people that are struggling, right? And the blessing is that the doors don't close.
Yeah.
Like come mealtime.
Well, the thing is too, man, is we're a low barrier shelter, right?
Right.
And no other shelter in the city is low barrier,
Right.
right? So we take people in,
Right.
And if they do something wrong, we still
Help
take
them.
in. We still help them.
Right.
They might be asked to leave for a few days,
Right.
But we give them chance after chance after chance.
Right.
I mean, have to do something really bad.
I think that's a blessing, Chris. I honestly do. Even to have you on the show today is just a remarkable journey for myself, and then having the blessing of your company today just represents the fact that you have hope to send a message. Other people in other outreach centers, when I finally get to the point of interviewing them too, it's the same thing. It's not me trying to suppress anything anymore. I want to show the world that there's a possibility for help at the mission, that there's a possibility for help at, say, whatever other outreach centers, Brentwood mainly, because that's where I found my salvation, right? But at the same time, it's like anything moving forward is just a message for the people.
We all need to work together.
Right, and that's what I'm trying to say.
And we are. We work. Our program works together with you guys, and it's great. Like that's that's great.
Nothing happens without people.
Yeah, and I'm so happy. Me and Matt, the director at the Downtown Mission
Okay.
of Programs and Services, we had meetings, with you guys,
Yeah.
and it was amazing. We came out happy.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about it for days after, just
Right.
because of the fact that we want to help. Matt's in recovery too, right?
Beautiful.
Just the fact that we this is what we want.
Right.
We want to all work together, and we're all trying to do the same thing.
Right.
Right. When it comes down to it, right?
Personally, getting people off the streets to a shelter, to a safe bed and shelter and a meal,
Yeah.
man, like that's the main point. It's like I know that obviously people in active addiction are going to struggle with their own choices, right? Like, and you can't expect somebody to do something in order to receive.
Yeah.
It's like here's a meal anyway. Here's
Amen. And you know what, too? That being said, like that's what my program. You know, that's what I'm there for too. Is kind of I'm a counselor there.
Right.
Right. Me and John.
How long have you been there?
John and myself run the program. I've been at the mission for 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just transitioned to the Phoenix Recovery Program about a year and a half ago now.
Okay.
I think it was to come together with John and try to make something great out of this. Right.
Right.
You know, what I was going to say was, the people that are contemplating coming to my program, like it's hard there, kind of. Like some people do well, right, in our program. The ones that live there, the ones that stay there.
Right.
The ones that have their own places and just come during the day too, they do well. It's separated. If somebody comes to my program and gets in the dorms, it's separated.
Right.
Right. It's a different area from what other people live, and they can go up there pretty much all day.
Right.
So
And they have their fellowship.
But it's a struggle.
Right.
Right. Because people are actively using drugs.
Right
sometimes
outside.
Outside. Right.
Yeah,
So,
down the road, whatever.
So the people that are doing well, I give kudos to them. The ones that are not, I can be a go-between because my programs, I can be honest to myself
Right.
and say that my program's not going to be the best for everybody.
Right.
That's when I get on the phone, right, to you guys, or whatever.
Any other outreach center.
Other, if it's
And seeing that in a person, you're telling me like you can kind of like now at a point in your recovery, look at a certain person, see where they're struggling, where they may not even know what exactly would be fit for them, but you might be able to see something and help them, provide them with a different counselor, a different program, a different thing.
And I know from being, like I'm a huge component. I'm a huge, I love Brentwood.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Brentwood's been a huge
God
component
bless.
of my whole life, right? I said it today. I breathe better when I'm in this place. Like I do, man. It's like, I've been here since I was a kid. Me and Father Paul were close. Like I was in his office a lot.
Yeah.
It's one of Father's kids, if you will. Like he would always bring me in and talk to me, and
Yeah.
ever since I was there.
So how many years you been sober now?
So I've been sober 8.
8 years.
8 years, going on 9.
Right.
So
And you've been at the mission for 7 years, you said, right?
Yes.
So that's amazing. Like, and Father's final message, all right? I was told by many alumni that he held a meeting and that his final message with all of the alumni before his passing was simply to give anything that you've received to the new guy. Help the next person find what you found. So it doesn't matter about the whole program. If you have this much of a program in you, like that's what I'm supposed to deliver to a person when in need, and if I can see that they need help and I can provide that. So just keep on giving back. And I found that tenfold it's come back to me.
Of course, me too, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I try to do every day. My job's not a job to me. I go to work, I come home
Yeah.
happy because I've accomplished something during the day.
Yep.
It's what I want to do, right?
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate you coming down. If there's anything else you'd like to say to a message to the people out there, feel free. And
I appreciate you having me on. I'll do it again.
Anytime.
Whenever you want, Matt. I want to say that you are a huge inspiration.
Thank you.
To me, since I met you, I see the drive in you, the motivation that you have, and I think this is awesome, man.
Oh, he's making me blush.
What you've done here, I think is awesome. And it's true, though, right? I mean, we need more people like this.
Yeah.
And the more that we can collaborate together,
Yeah.
the better, man.
I appreciate that. Listen, we're going to end this here. It's Hours of Clarity, Episode 2, live night news. If you're a lot like me, then you might not like you radio. Thank you for listening, watching, and please subscribe, click the like button. We're to be continued in the future. And to anybody out there, just please, all donations will be going to the mission. And I just wanted to let you guys know that you are appreciated and valued. And anybody out there, you are worth it. Have a blessed day.